only read the headline of this, but they found a time capsule somewhere, I think on the East Coast. That was like, I think, like 75 years old. So you expect you open that up, there's going to be something cool in there, right?
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Empty.
Oh man.
Like, dude, that is such a funny joke. Like, the people doing that must have been laughing so hard.
Yeah, there's no, they bury it? Is that how they found it?
Was it like labeled as a time capsule?
That'd be so exciting.
I'm like, that's an amazing joke, dude. That might be. Were we talking on one of the podcasts about like if we had to do a prank? We were with Ali.
Yeah. What
That
prank
might
we
be it.
do? Create this just ton of time capsules.
I have nothing in them.
What is that thing that they did with the banks? They opened it up.
Oh, like
You know what I'm talking about?
Dan Gilbert.
What Dan
Quicken
Gilbert
Loans.
did?
Yeah, so a lot of the buildings that they bought in Detroit and renovated are old banks.
Yeah.
So in the basements, there's like these crazy vaults, and they want to keep the like historic value to it. So there's all of these boxes that are locked, and they won't open them.
Just period. Like nobody knows what's in them. They're like old
There could be
lockboxes
millions
in
of
banks.
dollars in there, jewelry.
Like
Nobody
old
knows.
Old lockboxes, like from.
In the vaults.
People
in like
died,
these
people
giant
left it,
vaults.
whatever.
I always forget that lockboxes are a thing.
They were like abandoned, and they bought these
So all the
properties.
property they own, they have all these banks.
One person, so I toured them, and one person has ever opened a box.
Guess who it would be? Pretty famous person.
Someone has to do with money.
If you were to guess right now.
Bill Gates.
That's not bad.
No,
guys.
good guess.
Warren Buffett,
Okay,
and he found $1 and he
It was
put
just
it back.
$1.
that is funny.
Isn't that
You all
kind
were
of
like,
funny?
what's it gonna be? It's $1 sitting there. Reminds me of a SpongeBob episode for some reason when I hear something like that.
What?
You open something up, a huge vault, and there's $1.
Escalators.
Yeah.
Ew. Oh my gosh, have you guys watched SpongeBob recently?
No.
No.
So I
it good?
heard like people no horrible. People were like, oh, SpongeBob, the new SpongeBob is trash. I'm like, how bad could it be? Like just seeing those characters like from a nostalgic value,
Right.
I'd
Yeah.
be super excited. I was really bored actually during my fast,
Oh.
and I watched SpongeBob, and it was in fact trash. They have this
Really?
stuff where they go outside of the water, and then it's like
What?
it's not animated because it's probably way cheaper to do, and it's filmed, but it is like very
And
bad.
it's like a sponge.
Yeah, they're usually traveling around in a fish tank, which is pretty fun.
That is kind of funny.
But like
But it's actually real life.
just the production quality of it is like tragic.
Wait, so if it's not animated, then what is SpongeBob?
so like the SpongeBob, like the characters are animated, but the
Okay.
world is not
They
animated.
leave the water. Like they're in New York City.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I just thought
I
it was
didn't- I
like
didn't
like
say
a
that part.
kitchen sponge walking
No,
around or
no,
something.
because that's what they did way back when, and that show was
remember
Right,
actually
so
That was-
that's what
that's
made
funny
me
as
think
hell.
about it. Like, oh, that's very odd.
Yeah.
no, it is like just the storyline of it is like they're just like beating a dead fish.
Yeah. That was a show my parents actually this past weekend said, I actually thought SpongeBob was really funny when you used to watch
Yeah.
it. And it still holds up. Didn't the creator pass away or the guy that does
Yeah,
the
that's why
voice?
there's remember with the Super Bowl they wanted to do the like tribute.
Oh, of them all singing.
Yeah.
And that's what Travis Scott did.
Yeah, the Bubble Bowl, but it was literally like 3 seconds of TV
Yeah,
time.
that's right. That's really cool, actually. Yeah, so just to tell you this, I haven't told you at all about it, but we got to see the property on Mackinaw. So my parents went up there. For those of you who don't know, my parents just signed for a property on Mackinaw.
I'm just looking at this. I don't know if that's like hitting you at
Oh,
all.
I don't know. Does it look okay?
I think it should be fine, but
But it's really nice.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's about half an acre, and it's in Stonebrook, or
Yeah, it's in
North Stonebrook.
I
think
don't
is what
know.
it
It's like a subdivision,
Okay.
and that's what subdivision
I
is
don't
So
called.
it's it's 8.2 miles around the island. So from downtown, it's about a mile to a mile and a half. So it's not bad via bike. It's a long walk though. But yeah, they bought the place there. It's all these homes around it are just beautiful, like huge. I'm talking like $3 million, $4 million homes around them, and they have to build at least 2,000 square feet.
That's like the minimum size the house has to be.
What if you do?
My parents said it's gonna.
$199.
You're not allowed
Yeah.
to.
Like they
They
won't.
tear down the house.
Well, they won't allow the permits.
Yeah, that would be. the
Yeah,
thing.
you have to like show the home association, like or the city, whatever it is,
Yeah.
what
All
your
the
building
approval.
plans are, and they have to get everything has to get approved.
Yeah.
Like your mom was telling me that they have to do like the Victorian style like outside, like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like the different colors, but she doesn't really like those colors, so she
Interesting.
might do a gray. But it's got to have certain Victorian style things on
I
the
think
outside.
I don't like that. I think
But they
that's-
don't just want these crazy houses.
Why
I
not
think.
though?
They want
I don't
them.
know.
I think they just want them all to be in theme with Mackinac Island's theme. That's what I would guess.
How many times have you been to Mackinaw?
Quite a few.
How many? Yeah.
I don't know. A lot.
Okay. So
Yeah, a lot.
So you like it a lot?
Yeah, love
Okay.
Mackinac.
Okay.
You don't like it?
I don't want to talk bad about it, but I want to hear
No.
you talk. No, I'm gonna talk bad about it. I want to hear you guys talk good about it first, and then I'll come and destroy whatever you say. Like, what do you like about it?
It's easy. And one cool thing with my whole parents, it's kind of a great place to retire in the sense of
You.
getting around. What do I like?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you went there for every summer for how long?
Oh, for a while, and then I haven't been there in 3 years. Yeah, I just love it. We know it really well.
What about it?
Let me get to it. You keep cutting me off. I can't get into my
He
story.
likes the build up.
I got a crazy story to tell you too, but
You're just stalling.
All right, I'll tell you what I like
Okay,
about
yeah.
Mackinac.
all right.
Well, one, it's really, I think it's beautiful. It's very much like northern Michigan.
Love looking at the bridge.
The bridge is really nice. The water, I love the depths of like
So
how
blue
blue it
this
is,
year.
and it's so
Yeah.
clear. Like it's fun to swim in. I really,
She was taking laughs.
I did not swim. It was kind of chilly this weekend, but I like the downtown feel of it. I think it's like cute and eclectic.
Good word for it.
I don't know.
I love the smell of horse shit.
I think it's cool. Like I told my cousin one year, she lives in Florida. I was like, yeah, there's this place called Mackinac Island. There's no cars allowed. They're banned. You can only get around by bike, walking, or horse carriages. And she goes, you're making this up. I'm like, no, it's the real place. She's like, I don't believe you. And we were in Mount Pleasant that summer. I was like,
Do a
all right.
Google search.
I was like, let's go. Well, it was like close enough. I wanted her to experience
Yeah.
it. So I took her there, and she's like, this is like, she said it felt like a Universal Studio, like one of those make-believe
yeah.
places. And I don't know, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
When we were biking at one point, there was just, I've never seen a zone like this where it must have been like 3 or 4 horses just let it go. It was like a minefield, like dodging all the shit with your bike. And there's these guys with like a huge little truck filling in. They must have like called all the units sort of
Yeah.
ordeal. And they kind of stopped what they were doing because they were blocking a decent amount of the bike path, the road. And they stopped and looked at us and kind of waved. And so I went, how's it going, guys? And immediately, without a beat missing, the guy goes, shitty, as I go by.
That's funny.
They're all scooping up the poop.
I wonder what Mackinac Island's stance on bird scooters is.
They probably can't
Yeah.
have it.
It's sad. We talked to a couple of homeowners
Yeah.
there. And so one of our neighbors, he was telling this story about how the guy that owned the house previous to our neighbor, what did he have?
He had MS.
MS, yep. And so it was getting bad, and he really wanted to have an electric bike
He couldn't
Yeah.
bike.
because he couldn't pedal, but he could still
They wouldn't let
steer
him
and
get
all
an
that.
electric
No.
bike.
They wouldn't let him.
Dude,
They
that
banned
that
it.
is-
He took it all the way to the Michigan.
Got to
he took it
Michigan
all
Supreme Court.
Yeah, isn't that
Yes.
crazy?
And then by that point, he couldn't even really ride.
And so he's like,
Yeah.
screw this, I'm selling my house.
See, like that I think is total bullshit.
No, it is.
Well, now they have scooters. We saw like a
saw
whole
whole
bunch of
elderly-
elderly people, like 10 of them riding deep, like ghost
Really?
riders. Yeah,
I
it's
could see
funny.
Segways being a big thing up there. I don't think they are, but I could see.
they
Like,
go so fast, though.
I don't think you can have segways.
I don't think
Yeah.
you can. I saw a guy on a penny board going around the island. I was like, good for you, dude. That's a trek.
One thing that's kind of crazy to me, especially thinking about like his parents' building, is so like there's all these trees on this lot and they're huge, they're giant. And so they have to cut down all of the trees and bring them up and down on horse carriages. You know how long that's gonna
No,
take?
so during certain times of the year, they can bring in heavy machinery. So
In the winter.
So starting like around now, maybe in like a couple weeks, It's then till like November. They can do.
But they can't bring like.
They can bring over like
Like what?
construction vehicles.
Really?
Yeah, like big time things to build.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Because otherwise, it's like, how do you dig a hole for a house?
That's
A
fair.
Just a bunch of dudes, like
A
that's.
shovel and an electric
There's
scooter.
no way for a
Okay,
thing like
that's
that.
fair. That makes it easier. But even like getting the luggage over or
that's like- yeah,
all
like-
of the furniture over, like that's kind of crazy.
Because we're
Airdrop it.
airdropped
A
inbound.
huge drone.
But like we were saying, when we get off the ferry, we'll probably have to have like some sort of pulley system where it's just a big square and everybody will throw their luggage on and we'll bike to our
Pulley
house.
system or just like
Just like a little trailer.
yeah.
on the bike.
When you're saying pulley system, I'm thinking like a big like attachment where you're like pulling.
All the way from
When
the
you
house.
first started talking about the trees, I thought you were gonna say build a tree house. I was like, I can get behind that.
That'd be
Tell your
crazy.
dad he needs the first campfire.
But my parents are like, yeah, it's gonna be about the size of our Clarkston house. Just
That's
crazy. Crazy. You can take about 2 years to build, by the sounds of it. If everything goes great, by next time,
You still haven't answered my question.
a year from now, that's when they'll start building.
Okay.
And to answer your question, I think it is very homey to me. It's always so relaxing.
With a
It's
Y or IE?
homey, i.e. It's always so relaxing. There's always like the favorite things I have when I go there to do. I love playing miniature golf. I love eating at this restaurant, that restaurant. I love getting smashed at Pink Pony.
What is that?
Sorry, just drinking, not it's
have
a,
you
it's a
not
bar.
been to Mackinaw a lot?
No, I've been there.
So you're a rookie.
I just don't like it.
What don't you like about it? I'm sorry if you weren't done.
You
I
know,
didn't want to
finish
cut you
yours.
off.
Finish yours.
And it's cool because there are a ton of tourists, but I would argue we know it super well in the sense of we just kind of do our own thing and it never bothers us. So we're biking on top of the island and things like that, going to different things like Sugarloaf and all these fun places. And it's just a fun place partially because it's unique for a vacation. You're never usually biking around and working out on vacations. And it's just entertaining. And I always have a lot of fun there. And the food's really good. And I love fudge. And so, yeah.
One other thing that I really love about Mackinac real quickly is I love the history in it.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's one of my favorite things to do, especially when I go somewhere in the South, like Charleston. So like Mackinac, anywhere like something famous happened or something revolutionary happened, there's a sign about it and you can learn about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I like just like all the historic stuff that comes with it. I think that's really cool. And then like they keep that history. I think that's cool.
It's really good for Pokemon Go, too.
Yeah.
The whole island, yeah.
Do you still play Pokemon?
No,
Was there kids playing?
No, when I was there 3 years ago, that's when it first came out. And so I remember when I came back, I wasn't even that interested in Pokemon Go. But when I was there was incredible catching of Pokemon. And I remember hanging out with like a group of 10 kids at the top of this hill. And it was this great spot for catching Pokemon. And yeah, in general, everybody was like, yeah, there's Charizards on here. It's crazy.
That's cool.
But yeah, what's your problem with Mackinac?
Yeah, why do you
what's
hate
the
on
issue?
it so much?
I would like to say that I got off on the wrong foot forward the first time I went there.
And when was that? Like how old were you?
I cried the entire time, so maybe 2 weeks ago. No, I was like 6 or 7, I believe. But my dad used to go on these sailing trips around the Great Lakes for like 2 weeks at a time. And 2 weeks to a young person is very long.
Sure.
Like it's pretty much like, where's dad type
Yeah.
situation. And I remember he's gone on this trip and my mom's like, we're going up to Mackinac. I don't remember her saying this. I just remember being there.
Yeah.
But to meet with dad. And I was like, oh, okay. Like that's going to be cool, whatever.
Sure.
I guess on the ride up there, I got a little worked up and was upset. Oh no, I was upset afterwards. All right, I'm getting the story right. So anyways, we get there and we're kind of like waiting at the port, like waiting for the sailboat to come in. And my mom's like asking like, yeah, how do we know when they get here or whatever? And then there's obviously a radio in there because you have to radio like we're coming into port. And then you hear, Kathmandu, we're coming in, we're coming in. And my mom's like, that's my husband. So that was the name of the boat.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And so like we met with him, whatever, and we hung out for the day on Mackinac. But then my dad left. Like he was probably only there for like 3 hours. Then he left, and I just cried the entire time.
Wow.
And like every single picture of me on Mackinac for the first time, I was crying. And, so that's how I got started
That's
off.
the preface.
Yeah. I was like, I don't like this place.
This place is
Yeah.
horrible.
It has bad
I
memories.
always try when I'm
Yes, and it smells poorly. And,
Yeah.
But the flowers smell so good.
Yeah, the flowers are incredible there.
it kind of offsets it, and then it's just a neutral, like, no smell.
I think you might need to re-experience Mackinaw.
You
I went
obviously
to-
don't go with the right people.
I went there last summer with Brad, and
Like I said.
but one thing I will give it is the water around it is so
sweet.
so pretty and
It is.
so clear.
It is.
So that's definitely cool. I don't like the no drone laws that they have.
Do they really?
Yeah, like not at all.
Whoa, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yep. So
I was planning on doing some photos and stuff of the property.
yeah, I mean you could.
Probably could. Just bring
Secretly
it
do
out.
it.
Yeah. I mean, there's not going to be any police cars there.
Yeah, no, for real.
How do the police get around? Just bikes?
Just bikes.
Bikes and
We actually saw
horses.
quite a few. They're just kind of walking around.
They don't have anything electric. Do you feel like
all
But
bike.
nobody else does.
Except there is one car.
whose is
What
it?
would it be?
An ambulance.
Quizzing
You guys have already went over that. haven't you?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
I
There's not a
just-
fire truck.
I don't know. I don't think so.
That I would be surprised if they don't have a fire truck, dude.
Yeah,
How big
It
you
might.
get all
It
that
could
water
be.
out. Fair.
Wait, it could be a 2-in-1, like a fire truck
and an
ambulance thing.
ambulance. They
don't
always
know.
said facts like the only car on the island is an ambulance.
I'm also pissed about that butterfly thing. That is way too expensive.
Never been.
I've never been. Yeah, no one would pay to do
So
that
like,
shit.
what do you do when you go to Mackinaw?
What do I do?
That's the thing,
I
like-
biked around.
Okay, did you enjoy
I don't.
that?
I don't think it's a. I think it's a cool place, but compared to like, and I think this gets to a larger. I actually have a few questions for you. Like compared to a Torch Lake, I would much rather go to a. I don't feel.
Why?
Because I just really like being out on a lake. Obviously, like Mackinac has the Great Lakes right there. But then, no. Going out on a boat on the Great Lakes in like a big inland lake
Going
is
to like a
is completely
sandbar.
different.
No,
That's
agreed.
fair. Totally
Yeah.
fair.
It's
But-
just a different trip.
Yeah,
It's a different style of a trip.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying is that I don't think you like water sports as much as I do. Which then this led to I've thought about this a lot, where it's like. For example, you guys love Mackinac, right? But in my head somewhere, I'm like, they don't really like Mackinac, or just trying to imagine that someone like has complete opposite taste of you.
Okay.
It's a really weird thing to think about, just in general.
It's like,
where
how could they think that way?
you don't
Like, I
like
don't
coffee.
understand.
You don't like coffee.
Hate it.
And I'm drinking this. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But it's just that's just a
impossible to
weird thing
imagine.
to understand. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you must not have had the right coffee. Like that's what.
And that's like us saying you must not have good experiences.
Yeah.
So like one comparison, and one thing I was just saying to my parents is, in reality, they're just living up north in a way. I mean, you live on an island, but it's a 10, 15-minute ferry ride. They're gonna have a year-round pass sort of thing. They can come over whenever. They can go to Picture Rocks whenever sort of idea. And one of the comparisons I was making was like Jonah's grandparents in Glen Arbor. So you have your grandparents in Glen Arbor. That town had like 3 restaurants, 1 grocery store, and then it got to a point where they weren't even driving to the coffee shops and stuff like that. They were just walking. So it was like a 3-mile walk to the coffee shop, and they're like 85. It's kind of crazy. But all I'm trying to get at is they loved it. Like they were so content with that house and just the people they knew in the city, and it's really small. And when looking at Mackinac, like in a sense, look at it as it's a little town on your way up north. Like people live there and they love it. And so it's like just another house up north. And that's how I like to look at it is it's not this island in the middle of nowhere where no one wants to go and be trapped in a sense.
I was sort of smirking there because I was imagining. Do you know the Sarah McLachlan song, "The I Will Always Remember You"? They play it in like the sad dog commercials.
Yeah.
I was imagining like a Pure Michigan commercial where you're talking about Mackinac and that's like playing in the background. But yeah, I mean, you give up good points. I mean, if you invite me up there, I'm gonna fucking go. So.
Yeah. Well, it's just a cool place to go with everybody. Because, I mean, yeah, there's police, but you're fine.
What are we gonna do?
You're fine.
Yeah, I killed a
We're
guy.
gonna
last
break
night.
a lot of laws.
I'm just trying to say you can get pretty saucy downtown. we
Well,
could
I
have
mean,
a fun time.
You're not
Like,
gonna get a drunk driving.
I get that. But it's just fun in the sense of you can go to bars and you don't have to worry about an Uber home or a big city, but getting back to the apartment or things like that is all I'm trying to say.
And their bars are pretty fun.
They
I mean,
actually
it
are.
might have they were kind of crazy this past weekend because there were so many weddings there going on. So I think a lot of that was like the after parties. But it got a little freaky there.
Yeah, tons of bars, so many restaurants now, and there's new stuff still opening.
Yeah.
It's just like,
What do you have to say about the Grand Hotel being haunted?
I've never experienced anything. I don't really like staying at the Grand. It's a little exhausting.
You don't like the rules?
It's just
fair.
intense.
What rules?
Even if you eat there and stuff, it's brutal. It's like a 3.5 hour dinner, and it's just
What do you
sitting
mean
in.
rules?
So after a certain time, if you're a certain age, like guys have to wear a suit
What?
to like walk around. Girls have to be dressed in dresses.
Inside of the hotel?
on the property.
I cannot
If not, they'll
stand
kick
that.
you out.
Dude, I'm about to get
Basically.
kicked
And, like-
out. That's gonna be my.
But like
downfall.
that's the thing. If you like, people go to the hotel for that reason because that's how it used to be.
Yeah.
And so
It's,
that's
like,
what
very
they're doing
old
is they're
tradition.
keeping all like the historic value to it and the historic traditions. So, but there's 10 million other places you can go
Yeah.
up there that are just
So
as
many
nice
others.
as food and similar experiences. But if someone who likes that type of lifestyle just wants to kind of experience it, that's where they go.
Yeah.
And they have other rules too. And like I mean, I remember the pool was only open for like 3 hours or something really brief. And gosh, I had it. Oh, and it's just even weird. You as a tourist, I can't walk on the Grand property if I'm not staying at the Grand. So like you'd be walking into the hotel and they'd be like, sir, and they kind of grab you and you're like, what the hell? And you have to show them your room key to get into the Grand. It's just like stuff like that where I start to shade away from it. I don't know. And it's really expensive and stuff like that.
It is a pretty place though.
But it's super pretty.
like the gardens are really pretty.
Definitely
They have
something
a
you should
nice
do
fountain.
once, maybe twice. But yeah, so in general, it's pretty crazy what's happening. And it's just going to be a beast of figuring out how to build a house on Mackinaw, in a sense.
Treehouse.
They're
A giant tree.
I think I'm
I
going to
know.
start doing some architecture stuff and like take it up as a little side project.
That stuff is so hard,
It is hard.
but like I also
It's
very
expensive too.
very interesting like field to go into.
Agreed. Did you know my dad designed both the urgent cares?
No, I didn't, but I just totally
21.
forgot about time. 23 minutes. Okay, I
23.
totally lost track of time there.
Yeah, no worries. We got a little into Mackinaw there.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's just like, "What's Mackinaw?"
What is this place? Should we get at what we were thinking with this episode, or did you want to start asking us some questions?
Yeah.
So we were just saying about our podcast is it's interesting that Madeline could kind of flip the role reversal on us and ask us some questions about who we are and the choices we make and why we're friends or weird things like that.
Okay, just to start off with a basic question, how long have you guys been friends for?
Well,
Let me tell this story.
Yeah, tell me.
oh, geez.
Yeah, is there a story to like how you guys became friends?
Yes, we didn't become friends. We were forced to become friends.
Okay.
Well, it's all started from basketball. That's when we first met.
We started the track meet.
Oh,
we
you're
didn't
right.
no, we did not know each. We stayed together at Oakland University basketball camp. We didn't know each
How
other.
old were you?
Well,
4th grade.
You guys
didn't-
were roomed together?
Yes, we
was
didn't
4th
know
grade.
each other because we did tryouts and then the camp was first and then the season started.
Yep.
So
Yep.
our parents met because Christian, Josh's older brother,
Right.
and my older sister ran track together.
Okay.
My sister was way better than Christian,
I don't know. I hear Christian's pretty good.
and but no, our parents met at a track meet, and then Josh and I met at a track meet.
Okay.
And
my dad has
the
told
rest
me
is
before. Whoa. My dad has told me before, like almost from the get when we first met, we were just kind of hitting it off, like throwing the football around, like we were kind of right in sync. It took like about all of 1 second.
love at first sight.
But yeah, so we got on the team in 4th grade. Is that right?
Yeah.
Bulldogs,
Because
Clarkston
our
Bulldogs.
siblings would have been 8th grade track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we both got on the Clarkston Bulldogs team. It was a tryout. It was very intense. I remember being pretty damn nervous and all that. Brad had already been on whatever, and so we went to a camp that summer maybe.
Yeah.
That summer, and it was at Oakland University. it was a big deal. I remember that we were fourth graders staying alone. Well, to be fifth graders, we were staying alone at a university in our own dorm room, and then we would go to the camp. It was like 4 days, maybe something like that. 5 days.
That's where we had our first beer, right?
yeah, those were the days.
But no, for some reason there's like 3 moments of that camp that I remember. Is you would play basketball and then it'd be lunchtime, and it's like a half mile to a mile run to lunch, and it was like a sprint. I remember kids like fell and got trampled one time because it's like
insane.
4th graders to like 9th graders.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a large age gap. And the run was so intense. I remember they used to do like a check-in to make sure the kids were actually in the dorm room. You knew this was coming.
Well, no, totally.
And they'd knock and like you'd have to.
I remember it being terrifying for some reason.
Because the guy was so ripped.
The guy was just banging on the door too.
And I remember we're there for like 2 or 3 nights. So I get up the first night. I'm like, hi, it's Andrew and Josh. We're here. And I'm like, you got it the next night. And then the next night comes around. Josh goes, dude, I can't get it.
Dude, I'm not gonna do it. I was too scared.
I had to get it again, and then.
Truth be told, the third night or whatever, I think you did it again, and I still went out. Oh, it was so funny. And he was so pissed.
So,
why would you not?
So after basketball, that's when you guys kind of met, became friends. Obviously, you always went to the same school. Your parents kind of knew each other. Siblings knew each other. But what do you think kept you friends? Because you were still in the same hobbies, had the similar interests. Because you guys do have a lot of parallels.
Xbox a lot.
Definitely. Especially because like in 4th and 5th grade, we weren't at the same elementary school.
Okay.
So you don't even know he existed. I didn't.
So did you?
In a sense.
Did you guys hang out before? You guys went to the same middle school?
Oh yeah, everybody went to the same middle school.
So from 5th grade, then it was your year before you guys were together in school. Did you hang out at all in 5th grade?
It was basketball. That's what I was gonna say. What kept us together too.
I feel like we did, but I mean, I don't know. When you're a kid, like at least for me, I would hang out a bunch with the people that lived in my neighborhood.
Totally.
And then like every few weeks, you'd be like, oh, it's a play date.
Yeah, yeah, I totally get that.
So that was more.
I think around like 6th, 7th grade is when we started to like actually hang out.
Yeah.
But we started playing Xbox around like 5th, 6th grade.
Yeah.
In that range was when we like really started grinding. And then we would be hanging out on Xbox every day. And I would really kind of argue that it's pretty similar to what you'd want to be doing with a friend at that age. Because I would go over to Andrew's house and we would just take turns playing Xbox in a sense.
It's almost better. I remember sometimes we would be like, dang it, like Josh is coming over. I
wanted to keep playing.
In half.
Yeah. And it was just that kind of interesting thing. So that's where we became really good friends. And that's how it like always was consistent. Because, I mean, every day after school, whatever, Andrew would get up before school, but we would just always hang out on Xbox.
So how often do you guys feel like you hang out because you're doing a similar interest together, or because you guys just want to hang out with each other?
Do you mean nowadays or back then?
Like a lot of, like, I feel a lot of times when you see each other, since you're doing the podcast together, when do you guys ever just, or if you go to the coffee shop, it's like, hey, let's go to the coffee shop, let's work on the podcast.
Yeah.
When do you ever just, hey, I want to enjoy your presence, let's go get
We're
dinner.
all business.
You know what I'm saying, though?
Walk on the beach.
Well, that's what you do, though. Like, hey, you want to come take photos with me here? Hey, do you want to help me make a video with this? And I feel like that's a lot of time when you hang out. It's never, hey, I want to hang out with you.
You're right.
Let's go get a drink, or and sometimes it is. Like, you guys, like, oh, you go for a run, or you go for a bike ride.
Yeah.
But do you think it's more often than not you're just doing the same thing together?
I think that's kind of how I am with everyone. I don't know. I never just like hang out and do nothing. I guess I'd sometimes do that with Ray.
Okay.
Because he just comes over. I'm like, oh, Ray's here. So let's just hang and chill and do nothing. Especially when he has a broken elbow. But I don't know.
Yeah, for some reason that's just how we sort of operate. And I think in a way it's like it's an excuse to just get together and accomplish something together. And when we have all these things that are intertwined that we need each other for, it's like, okay, we got to do the podcast, and that kind of substitutes for the time we hang out.
And I totally agree with that, but do you guys ever feel like you guys do these things because it's a way to stay in touch? Oh, if we do a podcast together, then we see each other every week, sort of thing.
Definitely to a degree.
Yeah, I think that we obviously like to see each other because of the podcast, but I don't think we started the podcast to see each other.
Definitely.
Type stuff. There is one thing that I think you might have forgotten about, and I doubt you heard this. So in 7th grade, I had a girlfriend, and she loved me, or she texted me so, and I texted her back saying the same thing. And I used to fake being sick all the time.
Okay, it doesn't surprise me.
No, I mean, it's a sick way to play more Xbox. And I mean, if we got 7 absence to give, let's do it. And I was supposed to go on a date to the movies in 7th grade because that's what one does.
Right.
Totally.
And later that night, I learned that my girlfriend was no longer my girlfriend, and she was Josh's.
The old jump.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I don't really remember the specifics of it.
You guys were dating the same girl and you didn't even know it?
Well, no, she broke up with me.
She broke up with Andrew and then just started dating me. And I remember I went on a double date to the movies. It was her and then another 2 people.
Yeah.
But at that point, it was just the old get rid of one tag, grab another. It's crazy.
And
That's
I've
a funny
still never
Never gotten over it.
Never forgiven him for
But
it.
it's just like you don't even remember that, but in the moment I must have been so like upset and like this motherfucker.
That was wild. I don't know what was going on.
But I like to bring that story up because I think it's
It is kind of funny
that we've been through some stuff.
Some serious issues.
We've gotten over some big issues.
Would you say you've ever been in a fight? Or had, I don't even know how to say that word, animosity
maybe
towards
avoided each other for a while? I don't know though.
I can't think of a specific time. There's definitely many times where I've wanted to like punch him.
Yeah, but that comes
Which
with
is
everything.
totally fair.
Yeah.
I remember one time my best friend actually punched me on the playground. I don't even know what she was mad at me for.
Yeah. I think sometimes even with like especially really close friends, like I feel like it'd be good to almost just kind of box it out.
Yeah.
Just box
See
it.
what happens.
Yeah.
No, totally. Yeah.
No, especially you guys are, I call it like a 24/7. Someone that's always around whenever you need them. I feel like you guys are each other's 24/7s. Would you kind of agree? You need it, like whenever you call or text each other, for the most part, you guys always answer, right? And you guys talk about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a while last summer where we were talking like an hour plus a day.
It was like we were dating.
Yeah.
No, definitely, you guys are. Sometimes it is definitely like you guys are dating.
And I remember sometimes we'd be talking for so long, like I'd go on my 10-minute rant and then you'd go on yours and I'm just like doing something else, not really even listening. We're going, oh yeah, for sure. Let me say my thing again. And I mean, I know I was doing that and I know for sure he was doing that.
That's funny.
But
No, I just even remember too, it got to a point where like we forget we were on the phone together. I'd be like, oh wow, it's been like an hour and a half. I should probably go do something or whatever.
So do you guys feel like then, because you do talk on the phone so much and you text whatever, that is almost your hanging out time, where you guys just hang out with each other?
Maybe a little
In
bit.
a way.
I think that is just Xbox 2.0.
Oh, you just moved it over.
We're just not doing Xbox.
It's kind of
That's
fair.
fair.
Yeah.
It's totally
That's
fair.
Because I mean, on Xbox, we're not really talking about anything. I mean, sometimes that's one of the things I'm so nostalgic about is just like laughing my ass off playing Xbox. I mean, I feel like we would get pretty goofy.
Yeah. Well, I
We
mean,
still do.
there's a part in Xbox where say you're playing like a game mode that's called Search and Destroy. And so there's 5 guys on a team and as these people die, you don't respawn till next round. And so if you're the last one alive in this one round, everybody's watching you in a sense that's on your team. And I think that's where a lot of like I got good at shit talking and that whole sense of we were just beating on each other and you would go to party chat and stuff and you're just talking to him, oh, he's behind you, and just all this weird stuff. And I don't know, that's where you just start laughing a lot. And I know too, a lot of our Xbox
Classic
talk,
video games.
a lot of our Xbox talk, we're just playing so much and we're focused so much on playing, we're just monotonously talking. And so we're just blurbing words.
I have a question for you. So when you were talking about like the just hanging out or doing something, there's a stereotype that like girls like to just get together and like, oh, let's just sit around and have like just talk. And guys are always like, oh, let's do something. Do you think that to be true? Do you like identify that in yourself?
I'm trying to think. So like my best friend Jenna.
Yeah.
A lot of times when we hang out, I guess it would be we're just kind of talking or just we kind of just hang out.
A lot of what seems you do is like, okay, like you painted your nails with someone, and then after I don't know, put lotion on. Like, I don't know. Just
okay, this might be weird, but a lot of the times my friends and I, we do
give each other massages.
back massages. Like, one of my best friends, Mackenzie, one of our favorite things to do whenever we have sleepovers, I remember we used to do this in high school every Friday night. We would drink, like, cocktails or something we would make, and we'd put on candles and get massage oil and massage each other's backs. And we would do it for like an hour or two.
Same with Andrew and I.
We should do that.
I mean, Mackenzie is probably the best person who's ever given me a back massage. But like the other thing is like I'm good at back massages and she's good at it, so we'd always like do it to each other.
Only reason you're friends.
Basically. No, I'm just kidding. But no, like I go shopping a lot with my friends. I would say I definitely more just hang out with them than do things.
Yeah.
But I don't really know if I do a lot of things, if that makes sense.
Sure. Because like from my perspective, in not even just with like hanging out with close friends, but like meeting people, for example, like if like, let's say you two weren't here, it was me sitting here with just 3 random people and we were doing nothing, I would be freaking out, like
really?
socially. But if we were playing a board game or just anything that is also going on, or like a game of basketball, I can meet people so easily and like socialize. Do you feel that at all?
Yeah, I was even gonna say like a weird thing that I always seem to do is like I just turn on the TV or something in the background, and if I never did it, it'd probably always be off. And like you're okay with that environment of not doing anything, just enjoy, like focused on one another. One thing, like I have to give her eye contact all the time that I struggle with because I'm just always kind of fucking with
Well,
something.
I don't like when people talk to me and they're talking to me like this. And it's like, okay, are you... Yeah, no, it's like, are you listening to me? Are you paying attention? How are you supposed to respond to what we're talking about?
I'd say a lot of the time with him, probably not.
Probably not. No, trust me, I know. He has definitely
I'm
learned
so
how
bad
to...
at multitasking.
No,
like really bad.
he's terrible at it. But he's definitely learned how to tune me out. So I try to keep my stories a little shorter around him. He told me the other day I needed to start a blog because I tell him too much. He says I should just tell the world instead of telling him all the time. So I don't know about that. But I would say one thing,
idea.
I'm a child of 9. So I always grew up with being around people, and it was whether my siblings were always home or my parents or my cousins are over or my friends have friends over. Next thing you know, it's just a Monday night, but we have 15 people over.
Yeah.
But that's just normal. And so mostly what you do is you just kind of hang out. You don't really go and do things.
Sure.
Because everyone you need is already right there. So I think maybe that's where a lot of this, like my element is just being in a room full of people and talking. It's like, and just hanging out with them.
But yeah, sorry.
No,
Yes,
you're
I
good,
agree.
you're good.
You're right. But answering your question just a touch more is like, yeah, I vibe when I'm even just playing sport, like throwing a baseball around or anything. Frisbee. I'd always rather be doing that than just sitting on a couch or something.
Yeah, just like the simple, like I don't know what it is. Like for one time, like professionally, I've met with someone for coffee once, like sort
The guy
of like
with
mentor.
the dog?
Yes, yeah. And I remember I was so nervous. I was sitting there like, what do I do with my hands? Like I'm not even joking.
No, that's fair. It's totally fair.
And like that's part of the reason, like with these podcasts, if you watch them back at all, I always am literally just pounding drinks because I need something to do.
Yeah.
Did you ever take a speech class?
No. Actually, I did in high school, yeah.
Maybe you should have taken a speech class in college. They teach you how to. What the? No. I'm just talking shit.
Yeah, I know.
But no, that's like a lot of things they teach you is what to do with your hands, what nervous tendencies to.
Mine was like acting. I was like, to be or not to be.
In speech class?
Yeah, I was in acting and speech class.
Interesting. My speech class is one of my favorite classes ever. Just saying, I got 105% in it in college.
Oh, weird flex, but okay.
Putting it out there.
You know, that is a weird thing about speeches because some people are like, do nothing at all. But I feel like you just kind of have to feel it out yourself because there are some people that are like nervous, like talking like this and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like just doing this. But then if someone's like, yes,
boring.
I think. But it's also weird. So I think you just kind of have to feel that out for yourself.
No, but like they say, like a lot of people like to sway when they're doing like public speeches. So instead, walk around and make a point of it. If you want to move your hands, fine. But instead of just doing random things, point with your fingers,
Yeah.
talk with your hands, and just taking your nervous tendencies and how to make them
Deliberate.
yeah.
That reminded me like Brendan Schaub with the
Yeah.
whole talking about comedy.
Yeah, no, 1,000%.
Yeah. That's interesting though.
Yeah, no, speech class, that's cool.
It's a good
It,
class.
I'm a little bit the same way with, like, even when we're at bars and stuff and just talking to random people at times, I end up just drinking so much beer because, I don't know, it's something to do with my hands. And that's what I love
Yeah.
about playing video games so much, is it's just something to do with your hands. And I'm always like, any break in the conversation, I just,
Yeah.
and it's like, man, I gotta stop. But yeah.
I think just in general, I have like a lot of energy. Even when you were saying like he's bad at like paying attention, just multitasking type stuff.
Yeah.
I get like that too, where like some people call me chipmunk sometimes.
Really, I've never heard that.
Yeah.
I haven't
And,
either.
Yeah, and it's just because like I don't know, I just have.
Wait, who called you chipmunk?
I have people.
I have friends,
Yeah.
guys.
I have a lot of friends, but no. Even like, are you good at talking to people at bars? Like just going up and like holding a conversation? I feel like you probably are.
I probably am.
She's
but
incredible.
Yeah.
I would say something I'm really good at is talking to random people. I get really like, for example, when Josh and I first started dating and he took me up to Brad's to meet everybody, I was extremely nervous.
Dude, sorry, it's just killing
No.
the bug. I've done that in like the past 3 episodes.
And
I
like
think you're
or
doing.
like when I started working at Benzinga, I was extremely nervous. And I never get nervous unless it's like it's the first day, it's someone I want to make a good impression on or things like that. But if it's someone I don't know if I'll ever see again, I'll talk their ear off. I'll say whatever to them.
That's cool. That's a cool perspective.
I'm a lot more comfortable not knowing someone and talking to them than
Sure.
getting to like meeting someone for the first time and having to get to know them and knowing that you're gonna have to have some sort of relationship with this person. That freaks me out because
Yeah.
I want to make sure it's a good one.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones, I don't really care.
She is like one of the more impressive people I've ever met of just making conversation.
Yeah.
And if you let her loose in a bar, it's like, where the hell is Madeline? And she's off talking, telling this story to a group of 5 people. I'm like, what in the heck?
Yeah.
Well,
It's impressive.
thank you. I think a lot of it comes from I would say my first job technically I was a hair model. So I used to
Weird flex, but okay.
not a flex. It's a fact. But
Wow.
But so like one thing that I would do is so you go on stage and whether they don't really dye your hair on stage, but they cut it and they style it and then or maybe I'm at a trade show and I'm standing at the booth and my hair is like what they're showcasing and I'm handing out products and I'm talking to them. So I was always put in, and I started doing that when I was 14.
So that's sort of like selling.
Yeah. So, but I was put in positions where that's what I did. Or even, we were talking about Girl Scouts, selling Girl Scout cookies, learning skills like that, just talking to random people, and you have to.
Weren't you really good at selling Girl Scout cookies?
Yes, I was really good at selling. I was really good. Anyways,
Well, didn't you sell the most, period, out of all the Girl Scouts?
for 3 years. And I did Girl Scouts.
In the U.S.?
No, not national. Just like in my like Girl Scout
Your
group.
troop. Your troop.
My troop, yeah.
I know a thing or two about
I
Girl
did Girl
Scouts.
Scouts from 3rd grade until 9th grade.
Nice.
And it was like all the
Okay.
same friends.
That's cool.
But
In
even
3rd grade, it was brownies, though.
yes.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it's still Girl Scouts, but then
I know,
you
I'm
go
just
up.
telling you, I know.
But I just
You're
think
rubbing it in
I
our
was
face.
always put in positions where that's what I did. And so then that's how I got used to it. So then I go from hair modeling, I'm hosting. I'm the first one people come to the restaurants, I have to talk to them, and then I have to make sure they're having a good evening, whatever they need, I have to give it to them. Then I start serving, I get more personalized with them. And when you start bartending, you know everybody's life story by the end of the night.
Yeah, I think that's where you really took a step up is bartending. Because you have these guys where it's a Sunday afternoon and there's 4 guys at the bar. Gotta talk to them or something.
Yeah.
And that's where your social skills, I bet, just started to skyrocket. I'm not saying you were bad at all before, but I think you got a lot
No,
better
I
at
think
something.
bartending has taught me a lot of life skills that I even can use into
Yeah.
my professional life, and I
Yeah.
think that I do.
I think that I would like to do that at some point in my life. I think it would be cool, and I think it'd also be a challenge, like because I feel like once I get past the like first 5 minutes of a conversation, I can be fine, but it's just like the initial, like kind of breaking the ice type stuff. That's always been really hard for me, but.
I would say it's something I am conscious of, and I am always sort of trying to get better at.
I think you're good at talking to people.
Even just making conversation.
Yeah, I'm not bad at, and I don't think you're bad at it once it's going. I obviously don't know how you feel about it, like starting.
Some of it is this too,
Yeah.
which helps a lot.
Yeah. Even like explaining yourself, I've gotten so much better at because of doing like commentaries. Because like it's a weird skill, but like I can talk with just me. I can do a monologue for 25 minutes, which is like partially psychotic. But like
Oddly not that useful, no.
But when I got hired at Urban Outfitters and there was a video interview, guess who did amazing?
Yeah.
That's fair.
No,
That's
it's
a
very
good point.
Flex, but okay.
Yeah.
So what would you guys say is your favorite thing to do together? Like individually. So Joshua, we'll start with you. What's your favorite thing to do with Andrew?
Currently, right now, yeah. Can I say a couple things I really like?
Sure.
Nope.
Nope. I would say I really like this podcast. It's always funny to me with things where it's so easy to be like, I remember this with the other podcast, but just stuff where you know you have to do consistently, and at times it's like, oh yeah, we're doing the podcast today, and it's like I would rather do this or that, but then we get here and I just have a great time, and it's like it always is amazing with that kind of thing. But I really enjoy this podcast, and we laugh pretty hard on this thing. It's just so fun, and used to like, as looking back, we used to just love playing video games. I would go over to Andrew's house, we'd play video games. He would come over, we'd play video games. So that's a thing I like doing together a lot. And as of late, running, even though now you just fucking take off, and I'm like, why am I even running with you? But
I'm training, bro.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, those are a few things I really like, I guess.
And Andrew,
Sorry if
what
I'm
would
taking
you
some
say?
away.
Even if it's the same thing, fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have your own explanation.
I don't know. I don't really like you.
Hey.
No, let's see. I mean, obviously, consuming any sort of caffeination is pretty fun. Yeah, running's cool. Obviously, the podcast. One thing that was really cool that was a few weeks ago was like we sat down and kind of worked on the podcast. That was really fun to do, like side by side.
So wait, here, continue.
What?
Well, one thing I've really noticed about your friendship or your dynamic is how much you feed off of each other. Oh, it's like you're each other's backboards, you know? Like, you can brainstorm together really well. Oh, I was thinking about this. Oh, that's a really good idea. If you adjusted this a little bit. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Like, I think that's really cool that because you are both kind of into similar things that you can do that together. Like, I don't really have any friends that are in event planning. So who am I going to talk to about it?
No, that's
the
fair.
fact that you guys can talk about it and understand it, like, know the different audio sounds and the different decimals and cameras.
Yeah.
Like, how many other people can talk about that with? And
Yeah.
the fact that you can just help each other, I think that's kind of cool.
I think also going off of the whole I think we're both escalators in the sense that like if Josh says something crazy, I'm gonna say something twice as crazy, and just feed off each other in that sense.
Totally.
And I think that's also one of my like favorite things to do is just like say crazy shit and just be goofy, which we're pretty good at. I'm trying to think what else. That might be it.
I think that answers it pretty well.
So why do you guys think you've stayed friends for so long? Like, what? I'm not like trying. I don't even know like what I'm saying really.
Yeah.
But what has kept the friendship going? Is it the interest? Is it we really like each other's personalities? Like what?
I think
Like
this is therapy, dude. No, these are good. These are really good
you know what I
questions.
mean? Like, have you ever thought about it? Like,
I'm gonna stop this over.
like you guys are best friends. What makes Andrew your best friend over somebody else? And what makes Joshua your best friend over somebody else? Not saying you don't have more than one best friend. Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's good looking.
True.
Got a sweet biking shirt.
I don't know about that, but I don't know. You answer that. 'Cause that's a hard question to answer.
Going from what you were sort of saying, I think a lot of the similar interests is what keeps us as really good friends.
Okay.
And so we were talking about how we talked on the phone for an hour during the summer every day. we were super far apart, and it'd be really, I don't do that with any other friends, but in a weird way, we almost create an excuse to talk to each other because we have these similar interests.
Yeah.
So I might call Andrew for one question about a camera, and then we're on the phone for another 45 minutes just catching up. And it's just that whole sense of like we have these similar interests, so it instigates us to chat or hang out of some capacity. And then because of that, we're just always hanging out, and we're always becoming a little bit better friends in that regard.
No,
So.
good answer.
I don't know if I think that might have nailed it on the
Been
head.
the same
Yeah,
thing.
and just like Josh is a good filter to run my ideas through. And if he seems responsive to them, okay, maybe that's a good idea. And if he doesn't really acknowledge it, it's like, all right, maybe that's not a good idea. But yeah, just having someone that's, I don't feel like for some friends that aren't as interested in the same sorts of things as me, I feel like it's almost a burden to tell them about like those sorts of things or like what just kind of spitball.
Okay.
I have no problem calling Josh and talking for 30 minutes straight and then saying, all right, I gotta go. And not let him say anything.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's part of it. It's just that, yeah, like you said, our interests are so like congruent that, yeah.
Now, do you guys ever really talk about just life? Like, I know, like, some of my friends I hang out with and I have a great time with them and similar relationships to your friendship. But if I was upset about something, I wouldn't tell them. If I was having a relationship problem, I wouldn't say it to them. Do you, or if I was upset with my parents, do I share that?
Yeah.
Do you share with each other?
I think last summer we did a better job of that, at least especially in the beginning of the summer, because I was having a pretty tough time like living by myself. So I think that's part of the reason why we talked to each other so much, because it's like, all right, I've literally said 5 words today. I'm going to call
Like,
Josh.
I need to talk to somebody, right?
Yeah.
But I think as of late, I mean, I feel like it's been sort of strictly business just because we're all more busy.
Right.
I mean, you
That's
guys
fair.
are. I'm really not that busy, so.
Yeah, Andrew, what do you actually do every day?
I just like to hang out. No, that's my favorite thing to do. Like when old people ask me, like, what are my plans? I'm like, yeah, I'm probably just going to hang out.
I'm just going to have a good time
Yeah.
the rest of my life.
Yeah. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know.
What do you think?
You got any stuff to tell me, bro?
No, in terms of like talking business compared to, I think a lot of that stuff just does come out naturally. It is a little bit different too now that I share a lot of this stuff with you,
Fair.
and in a
We're in
way,
direct competition. It sounds like.
no, but in a way, I'm just beating a dead horse if I'm
You're
saying
already
it
saying
over
it.
and over in 2 channels. I think just I start to miss some of that stuff that I tell
and
you.
even like the one time we talked about like with book club, it's like most of the time if you say your problems to one person, even if it's the wall, it's kind of like escaped you a little bit. So
You don't need to
yeah, you
say
just
it
have
again.
different avenues of like expressing your feelings and stuff. So it's just
So do you guys have one friend or a couple or certain person or people that you go to if you are having a hard time, or even if you're just excited and you want to share? But when it comes to like life things, you know what I'm saying? Like I would go to Jenna, my best friend,
Yeah.
or I'd go to my brother.
sure.
Those are like the most 2 people I would go to for those sorts of things.
Yeah.
If it's not each other, who is it?
I don't know if I have a specific one person that I go to for everything, because I think I've realized that if you don't, I mean, obviously you have to share your life with people in terms of like
Right.
what you're going through, etc. But also it can get to the point where it's like overbearing.
Right,
where
you
it's
guys
like you're-
talked about that in one
yeah,
episode.
where it's like you're just throwing up everything that's going wrong with your life on one person, and then it's like, look, I like really care about you and stuff, but I can't care about you that much because I
Right,
have
you can
a life
only
too.
you can only help so much.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And like to pat myself on the back, I think I've done a much better job the past maybe year and a half of just diversifying, and that's a weird way to put it, but just like realizing that like opening up to my guy friends. I feel like I've gotten a lot better at that through book club, other things, whether your parents even or just opening up to different people, because something I can talk to my grandma about something and she'll offer a completely different perspective than someone my age.
Yeah.
So just realizing that you can't you could. I don't want to be the person that throws all my problems at one person.
But who are the few people that you do share your life with?
Well, he doesn't have to be like specific about it.
Oh yeah, you don't
I don't
have
know
to
if
if you
that's-
don't want
is that-
to. If that's too
I
weird
could
of a
tell
question.
you, but I would have to kill you.
I get it.
I don't know. I think you already kind of answered it.
That's fair.
I think
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
said is just, it's starting to spread itself out in a way.
And I think that happens as you become an adult, or at least I think it should.
That's fair.
Because it's just you can't. You have work, you should have work problems that get shared with maybe someone at work that
Like
you're
a
really
coworker,
yeah.
Yeah.
Because at some point, if Josh is complaining to you about running, you're like, I don't really run, Josh. So
Yeah.
I can't really identify.
You're
with
right. Certain problems go to certain people in a sense.
because they
That's
can
totally
identify
fair.
with it,
Yeah.
and
You're really right with that.
and because if you try and talk to someone that doesn't really know what you're
Who
going
can't
through,
relate?
yeah, then it kind of sucks for both people because they're like, look, I'm sorry, but I don't really know what that is, and then you're like, well, you're not validating my problem.
I can't help or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should be a therapist.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe that's your next step.
Yeah. Life coach. My mom always says I should be a life coach, and I said I'm coaching myself.
Still
Good
working on
answer.
myself.
Yeah.
Good answer. What would you say, Josh?
No, seriously, I think
Like,
that
same thing.
I think that was a solid way
I'm
to answer
speaking
it.
for you. You're speaking for me.
Yeah.
Wow, you must really be best friends, guys.
Yeah. Anything else you want to ask us?
No, not that I could think of.
Just.
Do you guys have any questions for me? Any different
What's your favorite
perspectives?
color?
You know my favorite color.
Pink.
What kind of pink?
Pastel.
Look at that.
Nice.
We're becoming best friends too, Andrew.
I know. Questions. I feel like I had a question at some point and then I forgot, but I'm just buying time right now to hopefully remember it.
Yeah, I don't know. That was fun.
It
That was a
really
little
fun.
bit of a therapy.
Yeah.
Like a look back
I
at
made you think about it.
That was good.
Did you hear about what Brockhampton? Do you know who Brockhampton is as a group?
Yes.
Okay.
Boy band.
We were
yeah.
listening to him.
Yes. They do this thing called Friday Therapy, where it's
Okay.
like 50 people that all come over to someone's house. I think it's actually Shia LaBeouf's house. And like everyone just goes around and like talks about their problems and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
That's a really cool thing.
There was this one class I took in high school, and I think it should be mandatory, just like history is mandatory or math is. It was called Human Relations.
Yeah.
So I took it, I want to say when I was 16, and in it you talked about like, we'd have pillow days, where it was like once or twice a month you would all sit around on a pillow in a circle, and you talk about like your feelings and like what's going on, and it's like a safe environment,
Sure.
you know? And then, but you also learned about how to talk to people. So instead of saying, Andrew, you're making me upset because you did this, and since you always do this, you're always hurting
Yeah.
my feelings.
Yeah.
Instead of, I feel upset because this happened
Yeah.
to me. And just, I think like I took a lot away from that. Or,
Do you know what that's called?
no,
Kitchen sinking.
really?
Yep. I
But-
took
A class in it.
college.
Another thing is like,
105%.
I think it was called like,
Weird
who,
flex, but
Who Stole My Cheese? And it was just this book, and it was this whole lesson we learned about how to adapt to change, and or
Yeah.
just like some family member of mine might have died, but someone's gerbil might have died. But just because a person died opposed to a gerbil doesn't mean that you can't be just as sad.
Yeah.
Like feelings are feelings, hurt is hurt, and also like just learning about like the whole like gay and lesbian, transgender community, like what they go through and their side of things. And it was an entire class that I took.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
And I just think things like that are like, I think it should be more prevalent
Yeah, no,
in
that's-
society, and it's not.
Yeah. I took the college class I took was called interpersonal communication.
Okay.
And it was like just talking about like relational, like intimate relationship type communications with friends, family members, because I think people can be good communicators in one way and not in the other. Like really
100%.
good business communicators, but not personally, or just
Agreed.
Yeah, it just requires self-awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like learning those things, I think is really cool.
I like a lot, like one thing you're very good at, and you talk about it with that class, is just, you're saying it just a little bit, but just to emphasize it, is the way you say things and just the right terminology, you and I's and me's, and just being careful with it. And you get on me because in a sense, you're almost trying to like teach me how to do it more correctly. because I'll just be saying, you did that, and it's like,
I'm like, stop being mean to me.
whoa.
Sometimes it happens.
No, but it's like, oh wow, yeah, that's not your problem. That's all mine, and I have to change the way I say it because I am grouping you. And there's just weird stuff. I don't know an example, but it's that whole premise of being more conscious of what you're really saying.
Or just how your actions can affect somebody else and how they do. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like my sister Alex, she has neurological brain reasoning, so she can't understand that. She doesn't really understand emotions or how her actions can affect others.
Sure.
And to take that for granted, she really can't do it. Like her brain doesn't work that way, and we can do it. Everyone who doesn't have those problems can do it. And it's like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to make someone else feel better? Why wouldn't you want to get your message across the way it should be and the way you want it to be?
Yeah.
Just to take the extra time to talk like that to
Yeah,
somebody.
just be careful with your words. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like I am sometimes rambunctious in my words just because I feel like I'm very quick. Like I always have a very snap response to everything, which, I mean, sometimes it's fine, but sometimes you're like, I said that, and I don't know if it came out right. But
Yeah.
any other last words? I'm trying to think. How long have we went for?
Hour and 3 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that
That
crazy?
went by fast.
I had no idea.
That was a chat.
Thanks for the conversation, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the questions. That was cool.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, are we good?
Yeah, I have to pee.
All right.
Boom. And cut.